Some PhyloGeographer updates. I have recently improved the logic for handling when a subclade has exactly two child clades, or if a terminal subclade consists of exactly two samples. In this case, uh, a line is drawn between the two child subclades or the two samples. And some point along this line is then assumed that that is where the actual most recent common ancestor of this subclade had been living. I have improved the logic to result in a path that makes more sense now by using line interpolation. Um, the another change I made recently. This change will take place at the next YFull update. The paths you see now were computed using the old algorithm. Uh, I have added the YFull samples to the crossing paths view mode. Um, they are in orange, and you see a line in orange going from their subclade to the samples themselves. I've added this so that it's more clear why did the algorithm compute the path it's shown. Well, you can see the YFull samples, and then you can decide yourself if it made sense or not. Also, if there is an issue in the location that I have for these YFull samples, tell me, because I'm just personally keeping track of what all the YFull regional codes are supposed to correspond to, and there may be some errors. Other thing that I'm going to work on, in the current migration paths, sometimes a subclade and its child, and even its child, could be computed to be at the exact same spot. This happens because the way my logic works, if there is a sample here and a sample here, if the ancestor could be anywhere along this line, well, sometimes the ancestor could be at one of the endpoints of the line, depending on how close the children of these clades are located. Anyway, it's not clear though in this case when you look at the map and you know that there's like 3 or 4 clades in a row and you only see the label for one of them. So I've come up with a way, I haven't implemented it yet, but I know how to do it, which will just separate them out a little bit. Even if they would have been computed to be on the same spot, at least they're just going to be separated out somewhat so that you can see when you look at them, each individual clade. One thing I've already done is this collaboration forms that I've created, I've simplified them. This is the way that I can get data for PhyloGeographer that is not only from the YFull tree, but from haplogroup researchers, citizen scientists, people who are interested, surname researchers. You can tell me, hey, I would like to give them, for my YFull sample in my research area of interest, this subclade, whatever it is, you can tell me that you want to be able to edit, or not edit, but really augment, provide a more precise latitude and longitude for a YFull sample because you know where that person is from, because they're in your research group, and maybe they were too lazy to, or they don't know how to change their YFull settings, but you know that they come from this town. You can go on the form, enter in the YFull ID, the latitude, the longitude, and the date of when their most distant known ancestor was born. And all this stuff will over time improve the accuracy of the computed paths. Then there is another form for people like real experts. People who different kind of experts, people who analyze BAM files of ancient samples. These are the kind of people I would like them to directly uh, add their research. They can add ancient samples by specifying this is the latitude and longitude of where an ancient sample was found, this is when it was dated, and this is the YFull clade that is the most accurate YFull branch that we know that this guy is in, and here's a list of positives and negatives. And then I'm writing code now that will try to reconcile that sample with my algorithm. Thanks very much for your support. Oh, one other thing. Tell people that are in your haplogroup research community, suggest them to collaborate, because the computed past will become better if we have more participation. Thanks.